More 4090s are melting away, and a lot of them now are using the 90-degree adapter from CableMod. So CableMod responds. Let's talk about what they have to say. Let's talk about the warranty. Let's take a look at one on the inside and just let's continue to just beat this dead horse. It is stinky. It is decayed. There are flies and buzzards all around it. And you know what? We're going to keep beating this horse because it is now like a daily occurrence.
That is very true. Of course, skip this.
Hey, Day. Day.
All right, so you guys have probably heard the news. You probably aren't surprised by this, but more 4090s specifically continue to have melted plugs. We have now seen them melted with the factory adapter that comes with the card, which is like the single to 3, or is it 4? 4? I think 4.
I literally plan on, obviously, like whenever I get the money, I literally plan on buying like a 4060 Ti. I know I'm not going to have probably that problem. Hopefully I don't, but I do plan on buying a 4060 Ti sometime like next month or something like that. I honestly don't really know.
4, 8-pin PCI Express, whatever. We have now seen them melt with PCIe Gen 5 ATX 3.0 power supplies that have a native plug that go to the new adapter. We have also seen them melt now with the 4090 adapters, or the 90-degree and 180 adapters that come from CableMod, and it's only a matter of time until we see one melt with DeBauer's WireView installed. Of course, every time this happens, we start seeing an influx of emails coming into us, or we start seeing an influx of Reddit posts going, 90-degree adapter melted, 90-degree adapter melted. Every single time, I will reach out to the brand. And in this particular instance, I have now reached out to CableMod more than once and said, what is the deal that's going on here? Now, I don't know exactly what I'm allowed to say in terms of figures, but I'm going to tell you right now, they have sold in excess of 40,000 of these. So first and foremost, in terms of the failure rate, it's extremely low, but the real issue here is what is causing it to fail. Now, one of the things that CableMod is adamant about is that they must not have been seated all the way. And if you read the posts, they're adamant that they were. So already we have a little bit of a conflict there of an end user saying, yes, it was plugged in all the way, and then CableMod and Steve and Northridge Fix all saying, whether it's plugged in all the way or not, it shouldn't be melting. I agree. Even if it's wiggled a little bit, it shouldn't be melting. I still believe that this clip should have been 2 clips on either side to keep it from going canted. I can tell you right now, I have been using this 90-degree adapter since it came out with my Strix 4090, which is water-cooled and overclocked at home, since the day I received it. And let's just start with the fact that I have been checking mine periodically. Here's the way mine looks as of a couple days ago, and there is no burning, no nothing. I have left my computer on and running way more while being unattended than I ever would, because water-cooled systems I don't like to leave unattended. I have left Diablo 4 on and running with just sitting there in a city doing nothing, trying to see if I can get something to happen. Now, there's one thing that I find to be very curious here. We're gonna talk about CableMod's warranty and their response here in a moment. Every single adapter that has melted, with the exception of a couple, I think at least 1 or 2 recently have melted on the PSU side, by the way. That's a first. That is a first, but that means the same problem could potentially be the case if it's not connected all the way into the PSU and it's crooked, then the resistance would happen there versus the graphics card. But they've all melted on the side that plugs into the graphics card.
Probably, I'm taking a wild guess. Probably it's not fully plugged in correctly. I'm just taking a wild guess on that right now.
Not the side that has the cable plugging into it. That's the part that really is leading a lot of people who are looking at Igor's lab is still looking at this.
It's either that or it could just be like the graphics card in and of itself, like having like a shortage problem or something. I mean, I personally don't know. But, I mean, hey, that's just my thoughts. That's just my guess. We'll find out probably towards the little part of this video.
Like I said, Northridge Fix is the official GPU repair center for CableMod. So it's kind of funny how a lot of people were like, Northridge Fix is saying CableMod adapters are bad, but they're actually hired by CableMod to do the repair. So that's kind of a weird dynamic if you believe that to be
That is really freaking weird, in my honest to God opinion.
The case. But I would think if cables were potentially the issue, that we could see some at least burn on this end. And I guess it's still possible, but I think the real issue here is the fact that the amount of torque that you can place on the graphics card, it's not hard to get it to sort of wiggle back a little bit. And the clip...
So basically that's what it is like probably people are just not having it fully clicked in and it's a little bit on the loose side. So probably one of my guesses is right. I don't know.
allows too much wiggle. So that's already been identified. It's already been noticed, and Steve's talked about it. Steve has shown a million times the wear marks that can be crooked. And I think the problem is that the small pins being recessed leads to an issue of a couple of the pins not seating properly. And if you have a plug down here with the weight of the plug on this and this plugged in, this would be a nice secure connection. In fact, I don't know how it is, but this seems to fit tighter into the cable mod end than the plug fits into the GPU. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I mean, I personally do not know. I'm not as tech savvy as this guy is, in all honesty. I'm just taking a wild freaking guess on everything.
So let me show you here. So if I plug this into my 4090, look how much wiggle that is. It's clicked, by the way, guys. Okay? It's not coming out because it's clicked. But do you see how much wiggle? Like, I can unseat it. It becomes very...
Yeah, okay. So basically, yeah, it's just not fully connected. And I guess it's just not the user base. I guess it's more of either the plug in and of itself, like the manufacturer of that clip of the plug, or it's literally the graphics card manufacturer, which in this one would be NVIDIA.
Obvious, very obvious, when you push it back against the clip, it feels like it comes like halfway out. So it's clipped in. This is clearly a problem with PCI SIG and the way that this was designed. That has been talked about a million times. So technically, both CableMod, Northridge Fix, and the end user are correct in that if you hear the click, I'll do that again in the microphone so you can hear it. If you hear the click as an end user, you assume I'm in.
Yeah, that's what I would assume too. Yeah, I'm clicked in, I'm done. I move on with life. I plug in my cable, and my graphics card will then run perfectly fine. In the story.
It all the way. You start cable routing your cables, and then you pull it slightly crooked. I don't know how well you can see that, but that is crooked. But it's clicked. So that is already the defect. The defect is the clip system.
Got it. So it is the clip. It is not the graphics card. It is the clip. Okay. Also, probably now, like, we're going to do like this rule of thumb right now, obviously. If you are going to click it in, right, and you do like your cable management and all that stuff, just more fastly secure it. Like, let's start doing that a little bit.
Had they had two clip systems like on either side, like I suggested, I don't think this would be a problem. Because look, that had a lot of movement before it could go back in. So here's the thing. It's not a problem with the adapter. And CableMod is so convinced of that. And this is, yes, they're one of our sponsors, but I think I've proven already by now that if CableMod had a problem here, we would call it out directly, just as we have with any of our sponsors. They are standing by their product to the point to where if your card melts, like the connector melts, they will replace your card.
That's good that they'll replace the card, but will they replace the cable? The clip, I should say.
Have absorbed the factory warranty from the GPU. Because here's the problem. Now that it's been sort of identified that the plugs being loose can lead to the problem, even though it's clicked in all the way, a lot of the GPU manufacturers now are voiding warranties and saying, oh, it's end user problem. So I was afraid.
Yeah, a lot of companies will do that to save face. So that way they're not being reliable to shell out like hundreds of millions of dollars to each and every single one, just one person by itself, just one person. They have to then give a refund, give them a new graphics card, yada, yada, yada. No, it's the end user, it's their fault. It's not ours, it's theirs, type of thing. Companies do it all the freaking time.
Afraid of that when it was sort of talked about and identified that oh, if it's not plugged in all the way. It is plugged in all the way. That's the thing. How do you identify the user didn't have it clicked in all the way versus it was clicked in and then crooked because of the amount of play that the cable's allowed to have? I was worried that manufacturers like Gigabyte and Asus and MSI and ASRock and
Yeah, obviously, like, let's go back a little bit. Yeah, it's plugged in, it's clicked,
versus it was
obviously,
clicked
but
in
then,
and then
hey,
crooked
look, it's
because of the amount
moving,
of play that the cable's allowed to
a
have.
little bit,
I was worried that
and
manufacturers like
then,
Gigabyte and Asus.
boom, now that's fully seated. So, but it still can move. So basically, literally just, in all honesty, just literally just plug it in, mess around with the cable, get it to the way how you would want it to be, and how it works for you inside your build, inside your case, and all that. And then just push on the clip a little bit and make sure that, hey, it's fully seated, rather than it being like loose and then you get like a burn because, oh my god, one little spark and the heat, it could legit cause a house fire, which hopefully that never happened. I'm hoping to God none of that stuff happened.
Asus and MSI and ASRock and Zotac would take that as ammunition to say, well, you didn't plug it in all the way, so we're not going to honor your warranty. Well, CableMod is honoring the warranty on your behalf. So they will replace your card, take your bad one. What they then do is they have it repaired by someone like, almost said Chris Fix. That's a completely different channel. Northridge Fix.
Well, at least that they are voting, that they are, I guess they're upholding that warranty, which is always good. It's always great for a company to take someone else's warranty and just be like, you know what, we're just going to do it for you, type of thing. Send us your bad card and we'll give you a brand new one, which is always good. I like companies that do that kind of stuff because then that gives them more profit, gives them more revenue compared to, well, we're going to avoid it because of the fact that it's not fully seated, and so it's not our fault, it's yours, and so on and so forth.
Where they then give those cards away as giveaway cards. Because the thing is, it's completely repairable. When they melt, it is 100% repairable. Northridge Fix goes in there, desolders the entire plug, the entire power plug off of the card and solders a new one on, tests it, and it's working just fine. Nothing happens other than the plastic melts. That's all that happens. I say that as if it's something bad, but it's like nothing's burning up on the card itself. But I mean,
that's always good though. I'm glad that nothing gets burnt on the card in and of itself. That's always great. Very, very happy for that because I don't want to then see reports from him, a couple days ago, or a couple days later, or a few weeks later, or whatever the frick it is, oh my god, all of a sudden, oh lord, there's a house fire now. My house is now on fire because of the fact of legit I had a 4090 and it wasn't fully plugged in, so on and so forth.
That I don't know any other company that's going to say, we will replace your $1,500 plus graphics card because of a $50 part you bought from us when it failed for its own reasons and not us. There's no other brand on the market that's going to do that.
And here's why no other brand will fucking do that. NVIDIA and a lot of other companies will just, oh, thanks for the $1,500 plus, and now I'm just gonna drop communication with you, and it will and I won't talk to you ever the fuck again, type of thing. And it's happened time and time and time and time again.
You need to give credit where credit is due. You also deserve, CableMod deserves for you to go and do a search on CableMod 4090 replaced, and you'll find a ton of posts of CableMod going above and beyond and replacing the graphics.
And kudos to CableMod for literally doing that kind of stuff. That is really, really generous of them. They should not have done it, but they went out of their way and did it anyways, which is always good.
Card. So that is above and beyond what CableMod needs to do, because CableMod could also say, hey, this is the PCI 6 spec. We've sourced the same plugs they use. They've got a problem. Not our fault. My biggest concern, though, is now that enough time has gone by where some of these are starting to now melt. And with over 40,000 of these sold, again, sorry, CableMod, if I'm not supposed to mention how many you've sold, but you told me and you didn't say I couldn't. With over 40,000 of them sold and only 2 identified so far as being defective and the rest being just the nature of the design, how many are you going to replace before you decide you can't do that anymore? That's my biggest concern. Cable Mod cannot replace thousands of these cards and stay viable to keep selling these.
That is very true. Like, I mean, 2 is, like 0.000000 trillions of zeros, 1% out of like that 40,000 that he did mention. So kudos to that. But also at the same time, it's like, yeah, how many more is going to try to pop up and be like, hey, I did it. Like, mine burned, even though in reality, it never really did happen. Like, oh, yeah, mine worked perfectly fine and all that kind of stuff.
So that's my biggest concern is how long before they say we're no longer going to replace the card. I think they would have to stop sales before they do that. But yeah, that's a huge undertaking that they've taken on, and kudos to them. I'm just worried about how long they can do that for. Let's talk about the design real quick, just so you guys can feel a little bit more confident about this.
All right, let's feel a little bit more confident in the design of Cable Mod. Let's see how they do it. Let's go.
I'm taking one apart right here. You can even see the metal cover, and these are metal, by the way. All of these cover for the 180s and the 90 degrees are aluminum. They're
That's nice that they're aluminum.
anodized. They have a heat pad on there. I don't know how well it does anything. I have touched mine while my card was under load, and it's still cool to the touch.
I mean, I personally am rocking, 1650. That's why I always play on the cloud. And I do want to get this internally fixed up, like I said, to like a 4060 Ti type of thing. Like, I really want to upgrade this computer specs to actually like be able to like run and be able to play games like fully much more modern games, and rather than in 1440p like my monitor, obviously that I broke yesterday, obviously, but by sheer accident. But yeah, like in all honesty, yeah, let's continue diving into Cable Mod. It's designed for their cable. Let's go.
I think this was an effort to keep them from melting when it wasn't positive what was causing it to melt yet. So having a heat pad on here really doesn't do anything when the problem is happening on this end and it's happening at the connection point between the pins. That's
Which I wonder if like they're gonna like release like an updated design to it to add cooling, to the pins rather than like the body itself. I mean, keep the cooling for the body, but you gotta have to find a way to make the pins be a lot more in the cooling sector.
It's been identified. We know that that's the issue. But if you take a look at the PCB design, it is solid PCB. I mean, it's got no wiggle on there. You can see these are very robust connections. The problem is not the adapter. And if you're running a 4080 and below, you're not going to be drawing enough watts for it to ever become a problem. So I still would 100% stand by the adapter, even up to a 4090, because the reality is you can burn your 4090 using anything, any regular cable, regular adapter, or whatever.
Oh, geez, so. Well, at least he said 4090 still, so. Because, like I said, I want to get a 4060 Ti, the 16 gigabyte VRAM model that's going to come out like next month. I know that. I do want to get that, so that way I'm not too overpowered with gaming. Like the 4080 and the 4090. Like, I don't want to go that overpowered. But I would all honestly prefer like a 4060 Ti, just kind of like something basic. I would go 8 gig if I was 1080p gaming, but since I do 1440p, I have to do the 16 in all honesty, just to have more headroom for it.
Only might have a higher probability of causing it with the adapter because of the extra girth, for a lack of a better term, with the cable on there.
Extra girth. Oh, that's funny.
Giving more torque to twist the cable. I mean, we'll get another close-up of this, but it is insane the amount of wiggle you can have on this once it's...
That's what she said. Alright, I'm gonna stop with the freaking jokes, the sexualized jokes. I'll stop with it, I promise. Maybe. I don't know.
Plugged in. It is seated, it is solid. But as soon as you start moving this guy around to like manage your cables, this is the amount of wiggle we have. And that is, look, that is not on anymore. That is, for all intents and purposes, completely being held on by the tab. But these connections, I mean, this is, look at this. So
watching it from that point of view, yeah, you can see more of that wiggle and more of that kind of stuff. So yeah,
It's connected. This is important because it's both people are right. The manufacturer is right that it's crooked, and the end user is right that it was seated because it clicked. It's clicked, but look at this. And the thing is, if you look at that head on, it might not be super obvious that it's not seated.
yeah, exactly, and that's where most of the graphics actually sit, is mostly like that. And so obviously, like when you look at it head on, yeah, you're not gonna notice that it's like loose and all that until you push it back in, and that's when you realize like, oh wait, what? Why did I push it? Like, why was it pushed out? Like, what the heck? And then that raises questions. So hopefully, like now, just literally just push it in more and call it a day, please, for everyone's sake.
Because of the fact that on this plane it's straight up and down, but it's this plane where it's off. There's nothing you can do about that. It is just the
Yeah, even the 12V HPWR cables have that much play as well, which could coincide with like the graphics card not being pretty good.
the clip distance that is unseated, but the clip is keeping it from coming out. That is seated.
And that is fully 100% seated, which again, looking at it from head on, you are going to not notice it until you just push it in, or you look at it from a certain angle and realize, oh look, it's actually not even plugged in fully.
Like, it'd probably be better if you just to not have the clip at all. That way it falls all the way out when you know there's a problem. But you cannot rely on the click anymore to say that it is fully seated. It's unfortunate, but you know what? I've gotten so many emails just over the last week because it's funny how it seems like it happens in waves. Like nothing for a while and then boom, here's like 50 Reddit posts, all different users. One other thing I want to point out, I don't have details on this yet, but CableMod did say that over 70% of the cards that are failing with the burning have all been from one manufacturer. I don't have any of the details.
Ooh, just only one manufacturer. Ooh, cost cutting cost cutting measures. Maybe like that's a legit straight oversight of that. In all honesty,
On that. I don't know what they will say and won't say because the last thing one brand wants to do is point the finger
and that shit takes fucking forever, man.
at another brand. But I can tell you when you start to see an overwhelming majority be one brand, then it really starts to look like there's something to hone in on that. Man, this could have all been avoided had this little tab been like a millimeter shorter on it.
Oh, by the way, and to make the joke, this is just the in-game cutscene on Unreal Engine 5. This is just the test footage.
So anyway, I just want to talk about that. I am still using mine. In fact, I came in today and told Phil, like, we're throwing one of these on your 4090 because we want to test. And, you know, when the brand is willing to replace your graphics card for a $50 part, I don't even know if this is 50 bucks, but I think it's about 50 bucks for this. It's not cheap. If they're going to replace your $1,500 to $2,000 card for 50 bucks you gave them, and really realistically, I don't know how much of that's profit for them. That's a huge risk they're taking because they believe in their adapter, even though what's failing has nothing to do with them. We need more brands like CableMod. All right, guys. Hope this has cleared some stuff up. Hope it has made some people less afraid. Double check your connections. Make sure they're pushed in all the way after you've cable managed. I think people are clicking it in, cable managing, leaving it, thinking it's great. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this has cleared up some of the confusion. We're going to continue to run it, and I hope they redesign this or do something for the next gen so that it's not a problem. 4080 and down, you're not pulling enough wattage for it to matter. This is all fine. It's the 4090 is like right on the edge of the spec.
Yeah, that was pretty good, interesting watch. I will have his channel link in the description box below, so that way you guys can immediately subscribe to him if you are interested in more of that. And consider hitting the subscribe button on this channel too, so that way you don't miss weekly videos and daily or weekday uploads of shorts. Alright, bye-bye everyone.